Hi, this is John, and this is a video about a short but inspiring early morning hike in Bear Creek Canyon, a few miles west of Morrison, Colorado. In just a little over 2.5 miles of easy hiking, there were amazing views, a pine forest, a sunrise, a mountain stream, and even a little bit of history. I began at the Little Park trailhead in the pre-dawn twilight. Carefully making my way along the Bear Creek Regional Trail, I soon crossed into the adjacent lair of the theBearPark. About a half mile from the trailhead, I found myself on the Bruin Bluff Trail, the Bear Creek Trail having branched to the right and crossed over the creek. The trail now began an easy climb to Bruin Bluff, gaining about 110 feet of elevation over a third of a mile. Both Little Park and Lair of the theBearPark are located about 10 minutes up the very windy Highway 74 from Morrison and about 30 minutes from downtown Denver. Being so close to millions of people makes this, of course, an extremely popular hiking area, but at this time of the morning, it is profoundly peaceful. At the top of Bruin Bluff, a small rock outcropping affords stunning views of Lair of the theBearPark and the Bear Creek Valley stretching out below. From here, it is easy to see why, in 1902, a Swedish farmer and his wife chose this little garden spot as a home for their family, calling it the Mountain Nook Ranch. It is also easy to see why he would become known throughout the region due to this rich soil yielding so many bountiful produce crops as Rutabaga Johnson. It was also easy for me to see the big parking lot filling up fast. And so, in order to enjoy as much peaceful solitude on the trail as possible, I chose to keep moving, even though I could have stayed here all day. After passing through an area of mountain mahogany and juniper shrubs, the trail enters a pine forest. A little over half of the park's almost 400 acres is considered to be foothills woodland, containing ponderosa pine and Douglas fir. Most of these trees grow at a higher elevation than the Bruin Bluff Trail reaches to, but for about a half a mile or so, it runs to the lower edge of this woodland, and it is here, in that familiar calmness, that is only found in the quiet hush of a forest. I began to consider just how uniquely pleasing this trail really is. Around every bend, just about everywhere I look, there is something to uplift my soul, and I seem to be entering a place that sits somewhere between heaven and earth. And then, rounding another switchback, I caught a first glimpse of this morning's sun, its rays just beginning to spill over the far ridge, and at that instant, I may have in fact lost my mind. The intense golden sunlight bathed my face in warmth and light so bright that it reached all the way down into my soul and caused immense gratitude to well up from within. How thankful I was to be in this spot at this moment in time so that I could witness this inspiring event. Not to mention having gotten that coveted parking spot. You know the one I'm talking about, the one closest to the trailhead. Anyway, I knew I had many blessings to count. Dropping down now towards the creek bottom was like walking on sunshine. The day had gotten a little brighter. The worries and cares I was burdened with when I started out seemed a little lighter. And then, as occasionally happens on some hikes, I simply lost myself in the beauty of the moment. I caught sight of the creek, and for some reason, crossing over it felt like crossing back into reality, so I lingered a bit. The Bear Creek Regional Trail is just on the other side, and it is quite busy with hikers, bikers, dog walkers, and runners. I had to play it cool now and try not to look like the nut job I so clearly am. But it was a hopeless case, because sunlight began streaming through the trees again, and the beauty of nature was pressing in all around. I tried walking close to the creek, hoping to wash out some of this lighthearted frivolity from my mind and to focus on the importance of being earnest at being someone I'm not. I then tried using my brain, started thinking about the park's unusual moniker, because if you're like me, and I do hope you're not, you might also be wondering about the name, Lair of the Bear. Sadly, It appears to have never been the hideaway of some rogue killer bear, as I had always assumed. But according to Jefferson County Open Space, the name originated with the members of the Mountain Air Corporation, who were the last owners of the property before it became a Jeffco Open Space Park. Apparently, as former students at the University of California, Berkeley, home of the Golden Bears, they named it in honor of a beloved alumni family camp up in Pinecrest, California, known as the Lair of the Golden Bear. Somehow the name stuck. At this point, you may also be wondering, what exactly do I have in my backpack for such a short hike? Unfortunately, I don't really remember, because I only ever seem to put things in it, never to take them out. But clearly, I'm going to have to get a bigger backpack, that is. Anyway, being by the water does remind me that this creek, like so many others that flow down from the Rockies, is notorious for getting out of hand. Its floodwaters would frequently inundate this valley, continually enriching its soil and ensuring Rutabaga Johnson's continued livelihood, while at the same time endangering the lives of his family. Today, the Bear Creek Trail follows parts of what was once the main road through the canyon, which was frequently washed out, its bridges destroyed, and local residents stranded, sometimes for days. It all started to change, however, in the 1920s, with the arrival of the Evergreen Dam and Lake, which were constructed to tame this unruly bear of a creek. In a bit of an ironic twist, the Johnson family's farmhouse, having escaped Bear Creek's frequent flash floods for decades, was partially destroyed under a landslide caused by the highway's relocation to higher ground. When the Denver Mountain Park system came into being in 1912, at the dawn of the motorcar age, this stagecoach road up Bear Creek Canyon was envisioned as the southern gateway to many of the system's early parks. These parks, in addition to preserving land from development, had a primary purpose of providing easily accessible places for city dwellers in Denver to experience the tranquility and sublime beauty of the Rockies. The Little Park Well House, constructed in 1919, was a welcome rest stop for these early tourists. It seems the automobiles of that day, in laboring to higher elevations, tended to boil away the water in their rudimentary radiators, and this was the place to get fresh well water and take a break. And now I hope you will soon be able to take a break and experience the sublime beauty of Bear Creek Canyon. Bye for now.